Bereshit, in the beginning. These are the very first words of the Bible, setting the stage for God's magnificent act of creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Imagine the vast expanse of the universe coming into being, the intricate details of nature crafted with purpose, and the very breath of life infused into humanity, all by the hand of the Almighty. From the majestic mountains to the delicate petals of a flower, from the endless stars in the night sky to the deepest depths of the ocean, everything around us is a testament to His boundless creativity and wisdom. As we sip our coffee this morning, let's not only dive into the wonders of creation, but also reflect on what it means for us. Made in the image of God, we too are creators in our own right. We shape our world with our thoughts, our words, and our actions, reflecting the divine spark within us. Let's explore how embracing our creative nature can bring us closer to Him and fulfill our purpose in His grand design. So, are you ready? Let's go!
So we hold on and enjoy the ride. After all the ups and downs, this is our time. Enjoy the ride.
That is a good launching pad. Got a lot of energy. What's up, everyone? This is my father. I'm not used to introducing you as my father. You know, I don't know if I've ever called my dad my father in my life. Have I? Have you ever heard that?
I've never kept track of it.
You've never kept track of that?
I've never kept track. Just as long as you put me within that time frame there, that's fine.
Yeah, I know one thing you always said. I called you Michael or Mike one time. I don't know if I called you. I probably called you Michael, and you're like, we're not drinking buddies.
That's right.
And as a young age, I learned that you don't call adults, if you're a kid, by their name, because even like people that you're familiar with, you know, and like I remember at church just calling somebody, like, I don't even know who it was, probably don't even want to say their name, but I said, like, I think it probably came off disrespectful, because even though I was close to them, like, or they're like family friends, but I just saying their name and they're adult, like, it can almost sound disrespectful as a child. I don't know.
It can when you're that age. I mean, of course, younger, but certainly now you're well within the.
Yeah.
But it would seem strange if you called me by my first name or whatever. It's just I'm just used to father, dad, whatever in that range right there.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. Well, this is my father, and we're getting today we are going to talk about God as the creator, and it is fitting that we have the backdrop of God's handiwork right here set before us. Every day, God's invisible attributes, His divine nature, are clearly seen by the things that He has made. He has made this. This is not by chance. This is not evolution and its outcome effects. This is what He has presented, what He has made for all of humanity to enjoy. Now, of course, this is the fallen version. This version that we see out in the world. This is a fallen, cursed world because of the sin that Adam and Eve committed, and we have just been the byproducts and the outcome of what happened by their sin, and that we are their children. We're descended from them. But even though if this world is fallen by sin and cursed and all that, it is still beautiful. You go to the mountains, you go see the mountains, you go see like the beautiful handiwork that God has made. It is still glorious and amazing. But it is still, we got to keep in mind that it is a fallen world. This isn't paradise. We have been kind of taken out of paradise, but it will be restored when Jesus comes back.
That's what you're saying is true. It's very true. I mean, but when you think about it, how beautiful the world is, how much splendor and just pure beauty that's out there, and every little detail that's out there, and this is the fallen version.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of what heaven will be and what God's true wish for us is. If this is the fallen version, this only gives you more hope of what can come. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, like I do struggle with that. Like, because a lot of times you go to work and you work your life, and like you're trying to make a living and things, but you have to kind of take it back to the Garden of Eden. And when Adam and Eve, when they fell and they sinned, God said, "Cursed is the ground; from it you will toil and labor." I think work is still a blessing, but it is from the sweat of your brow. You have to struggle and try to make a living. I think before that, Adam and Eve would have been made to work in the Garden of Eden, but it would have been so much more enjoyable. Work can be enjoyable now, But I mean, I just think of it like we actually have to use effort and kind of fight through our day to day and everything like that. So it's like I'm bringing this up because it reminds me throughout my day, like you go through struggles in life, and it's just things are just you're like, why am I having to do this? Why is it so hard? And like kind of almost doubting God in certain ways, because like the things that are being put in your lap and the things that you're struggling to get through, why does he make it so hard? And just always having that in the back of your mind, that recognizing that aspect of it, that God, this world is fallen. It's fallen, and he made it that way. He cursed the ground after they sinned. So that, I guess, keeping it in perspective, I guess that's the point I'm trying to get. But
And also the important point is, as you say, when you focus on work, when you focus on other things around you, sometimes you have a tendency, if you do too much focus on that, you have a tendency of forgetting God.
mm-hmm.
And you also constantly have to remind yourself that God is a part of you. He's through you and he's directing you. And it's your instinct to sometimes kind of pull away and just focus on what you want to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what God tries to do. He wants to remind you that you're his children, and that's the important thing. And that service brings so much joy to you, and as it brings to him as well then too.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so I wanted to take this a number of different ways, but I started off with Bereshit in the beginning because I mean, just because we got to start with almost that bottom line, because
what is that word anyway?
Oh, Bereshit just means in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Hebrew word, how the Bible starts out, Bereshit. And in the Old Testament, the first 5 books of Moses, those first 5 books were, as understood, written by Moses. Now, of course, he didn't write after he died, because it talks about Moses' death. There had to been editors that happened to kind of had to kind of formate and like make it make sense, that he died and everything. And I did want to point this out, that like it was written by Moses, because even Jesus acknowledges that those first 5 books were written by him. But yeah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So those first 5 books, they all start off with those first words of the book is actually how it, what they call the book. Does that make sense? Like,
yes, it does.
The very first words, that's what they call it. So like we call Numbers, they call Bamidbar. It's like in the wilderness. Like, and that's like, it's just how the book opens up, and that's what they call it and everything like that. I wanted to bring that up because of, started off with Bereshit because that is the starting point. As science has progressed, as people have become more aware of our world around us, and just, I think people are more in line with even calling it intelligent design, like in that aspect of it. Like, it used to be like, oh, there couldn't have been a beginning, but I think everybody understands there was a beginning, and we just call it, a lot of people call it the Big Bang Theory.
Well, everybody's always trying to work it through to give it a different title. I mean, a lot of times what's in the Bible, it may sound old, so we try to come up with new terms, maybe more specific terms that feel better to us, that maybe other people can accept.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that acceptance that brings them in, to at least to give a little bit more thought of what's truly in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's studying what the Bible has to say. It can be your basis from what you're going to work from there. Yeah.
So like, I can when you hear intelligent design, because like a number of people, they, I mean, we somehow, we know there was like a beginning, like, and that's like, because if we know there was a starting to the universe, and then how did it start? And then if we say, well, God, the Bible is clear, God always existed. He never came into being. He just always was. So if he always was there and he created it, and then like, well, then people think, well, who made God then? Like, how did God get there? And then, so if we go into the thought process, well, there had to been another God that created him. But I don't know, like, I just think that in general, people understand like basically how intricate that this universe is put together, how vast like the stars are, and how amazing, like you just look up into the heavens, you see like it's ginormous, it's huge, and it's like, and it goes, there's like almost an infinite depth of how far it can go up. But also there's also, if you look into like our cells, and how, like, if we break it down to how intricate we are put together, it's almost like there's almost that aspect of it. It's almost infinite out and an infinite in, like in reverse. What did you think of God growing up in your life? Did you think like that there was did you get opposition to God? Did you like have to come to belief in God like at a certain point, or like kind of?
I when I grew up, I always have had a strong belief in God.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew one thing, that I was never smart enough to understand God. That all I could do was try to keep an open mind, to keep a look around, but also to be very constantly amazed
Mm-hmm.
at what God has created.
Mm-hmm.
It's uh, I, but I've always known that I just don't understand. But just that understanding doesn't throw me off. It doesn't mean, it doesn't discourage me. It doesn't have me doubt myself or have my doubts in God, because all I can do, it's always a wonderment to me to look around and to know that God in so many forms and fashion is reaching out to you.
Mm-hmm.
And in reaching out to you, it's a form of communication. And too many people, at least I've always had the belief that they have to be almost like the proverbial spoken to with clear words. But I
Mm-hmm.
know that the human language is so simple and so unable to be able to express what God is really trying to say to you. So most of the time you're just trying to reach out there and try to listen, and by listening you hear what's around you. You hear what people are saying to you, not just people, but nature,
Mm-hmm.
and by that God is speaking to you in so many forms and fashions, and not to just ignore anything, to be buried within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always tried to stay away from.
Yeah. And because you hear about like people like you and when you're out in the like I'd say wilderness or woods or just in nature in general, you can feel that a lot more closeness to God, as opposed to if you're in your house or in a building and you're just kind of just working through your day to day, and all you do is see the screen that's in front of your face, and like we just kind of get absorbed. I think Satan has done a wonderful job at distracting us and putting things on our plates, keeping us busy so that we don't look up, we don't look around and just see the amazing creation that God has made. I don't. That's kind of like.
Well, I mean, that's an act of Satan that's trying to do that. He's trying to
Mm-hmm.
distract you. But unfortunately, that's also not just a part of Satan. It's yourself
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
It's you being distracted. It's you having your own self interests. It's you trying to think of what your own soul desires are.
yeah,
But the key is to always keep an open mind. Always try to know that something more than you is out there,
yeah,
and that something is God.
yeah. That's a good point. Like, cause like well, the devil made me do it. The devil made me do it, and that's why I did that bad thing or whatever. But it's like it's not like that. Satan can entice us, the demons and all that kind of stuff. But our fallen flesh, we even when we become a Christian, the Bible is clear about this. Our fallen flesh has been killed, it's been mortified, but it's almost still lingering. It's like almost daily we have to put to death the old man that just is going to linger and hang around with us until the day we die. So we're always going to, even though we're Christians and we want to grow in our sanctification, we're still going to have that fallen sinful nature that just like hangs around with us. I did want to kind of just talk about like because I know we bounced around a couple of things, but I wanted to go back to so just intelligent design in general, like because that is like we understand that this world like that we're in, it's like is it like there's different philosophies, like is this all just a simulation that we've just I mean, because you couldn't prove to someone that the last 20 years of their life wasn't just uploaded into their mind at that moment, and now they're just experiencing it. They just think, oh, that was just, and they have no idea, but they're really that never actually happened, kind of thing. Or like is this like just materialism, and just all we are is just random chance mechanisms that have just formatted over billions and billions of years. I think just the intelligent design, I think even the scientific community has kind of come to the point where they understand that at least the way I'm getting it, like, or what do you think? Is the scientific community like, I just hear that really smart people that out there that like they understand that there is a God. Even if they don't believe in the God of the Bible, they understand there's something. There's intelligent design. Whether we are created by aliens and spacecraft, there's something higher force that is out there that is kind of watching us. There's, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think what science tries to do is it's trying to find and pose questions and trying to find out, be it within whatever science there is and whatever type of science there is, it's trying to find an answer to it. Sometimes the particular scientist has no other interest other than what they are focusing on right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not trying to find an answer to everything. They're just
Mhm.
trying to find an answer to the one specific thing that they have. And science does that by its ritual of a certain way to pose questions, to resolve answers, and the way it seeks those answers there.
Yeah.
But some scientists take a broader view,
Mhm.
and some scientists, there's a number of scientists that continue to have a strong belief in God because they know one thing: they don't understand everything.
Yeah.
That there's so much out there that they in their specific, looking at a specific area, can't understand everything, and so they try to find an answer. But I know that there's a large number of scientists that do have a specific or a deep held belief in God.
Yeah.
And that's I think just trying to seek answers and ask God questions there.
Yeah. I think I've heard that no matter scientists can climb over the highest mountains, they can climb through the deepest terrain and struggle through to try to find how did we get here and all that, and try to put it together through science and everything like that. But as they reach the toppest mountaintop, they'll get up there and they'll climb over that last ledge, and they'll get up there and they'll see all the theologians up there and philosophers, because basically it's almost like science can only take us so far. At that, eventually you're going to get to that point where you're going to have to look up and above beyond what just can be tested in a test tube or something like that. I guess God has made it seems like so that we can't fully understand everything. We almost have to reach out in faith. I don't know, he could make it absolutely clear that he's could speak from the heavens right now. God, he could just speak from the heavens and everything like that. But he, in the Bible, has said that he has, and when he declared that Jesus is his son, he actually spoke from the heavens. But then there was people around him, and the people around him were like, "Oh, it was just thundering. It was just noise or whatever." But there were people that actually it really did. They understood. And I think there always is that divide, no matter with anybody that's posed with something of faith and trusting in God. The people that are skeptics are going to rationalize it and explain it away one way or the other.
Well, it's always people reaching out there to find an answer.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes if they find something that appears to be the answer, they'll say that is the answer.
Uh-huh.
But too often when they say that is the answer, they have a tendency of just forgetting that they really haven't discovered it.
Yeah.
Or if they've discovered a part of it, that's what it is only a small part of it or whatever. God's wisdom is so great that, and most times he's just letting us find our ways. And I think that's what God's plan is for
Mhm.
us to continue to seek and to reach out. And I think that's what he truly loves about the people that he's created, is that constant search and that constant reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't create robots.
Yeah, he could have if he wanted to.
He didn't create just statues there that just could move around. He created something that ultimately, when it continues to strive and reach for him, that's what he's looking for in
Mhm.
people, knowing that we're always going to constantly sin.
Yeah.
And his greatness is his willingness to forgive us.
Yeah.
And to frankly to be our Father.
Yeah.
To constantly lead us.
Yeah.
And to give us a true source and a true belief there.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of bring this up because, so when you were growing up, did you evolution, the theory of evolution has been around for a while. Were you ever tripped up by evolution, or I kind of that because I guess for me, like and I've had posted my testimony in previous videos and how I came to faith and everything like that. Well, I definitely did not believe the Bible at all. I thought it was a joke. People living almost 1,000 years old, and then like the whole question of dinosaurs, like if the dinosaurs are out there, like how does that all jive? It doesn't make sense. But like there all is like an understanding of like an answer to all those questions that I had to work myself through. But did evolution or anything like that, or any of those types of things, did that ever trip you up, or did you ever have to struggle through that, or dinosaurs, or what do you even think about any of that stuff?
I believe that God, you know, all the different types of science there is, and how things are created, how molecules are put together,
Uh-huh.
how the natural flow of things do things. That's God's plan. God put those in order.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that set it to working, and he can make changes as he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But the changes that he makes are what we consider to be science. That's
Yeah.
how I always always perceived it. I've really never had a doubt, maybe because I didn't understand anything, or didn't understand a particular thing, or it seemed to contradict anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply because I felt that I frankly just didn't understand it yet.
Yeah.
And I always tried to keep an open mind, just to keep on listening and to try to work my way through it. And so I didn't really necessarily run into a lot of doubts. But a lot of that too is I've just been blessed. Yeah. I've just been blessed in my life, and I know that he has given me so much.
Mm-hmm.
But all I can do is just continue to be a servant there.
Yeah. And there is that aspect, that difference of it, that some people they grow up within in a closer proximity to people that have faith and have a trust in, like, have Jesus put in their life early, have the Bible put in their life early. I mean, I think we've just come so numb to it that we just expect it almost. Like we have.
Well, a lot of times people, and this is perhaps where I haven't felt that, is I have certain tragedies or problems that strike them at particular times that raises them, and I recognize that in my life that I haven't had a number of those really severe tragedies, and it's those kind of tragedies that sometimes can call you into questioning things. Mm-hmm. Just because, why did this happen, or how did this happen, or is there going to be a change in that? And I recognize that I've been blessed that I haven't been confronted. I've had losses in my life. I've had my parents lost, and I've known people that I truly respect and mm-hmm. love taken away. But true tragedies, which a lot of people confront nowadays, you can understand why there's doubts that occur, because they don't understand why it's happened. And so I recognize that there's a lot of things that I haven't maybe yet. Maybe that's the best.
Yeah, you never know.
You don't know if that you're going to be hit by it. All I can do is thank God with what I have, and then just keep myself open and learning, and then just await whatever God path he wants to lead you there. But I think I can understand why people sometimes don't have their doubts, have their confusion, have their I just don't understand points in life there.
Yeah. And I did, like, I know, because you've had a lot of life, and a lot of life that we, like, as your family, we haven't seen a lot of it, because you were in the military, and you travel around the world, you're all over the world. So, I mean, like, were there times in your life when you were in different places or anything like that you struggled with faith, or that you, I mean, in the military, is it like, I mean, you don't talk about God, right? You don't, like, people, like, you try to not bring up that topic, right? Or is it something?
It can be. It depends on who you're talking to, what's happening at that particular time. I mean, there's certainly been points where you're kind of lost with what you have going on.
Uh-huh.
There's when you're young, especially when you're first going off someplace, it's somewhere you've never been before. Mm-hmm. You're being confronted with issues, problems, dangers that just you're not sure what's going on, and certainly you live through that. I'm kind of like a piece of a rough rock that's been sanded down, and a lot of those roughnesses have kind of gone away, and a lot of them I just simply don't remember.
Uh-huh.
What I remember is more of a finished product of what I've been able to get, and the family that I've been able to raise, and the wife and the children that I have that have blessed me so much there.
Mm-hmm. Um, I have my next thought, but then I know what I'm saying, and then I immediately forget.
Well, that's called old age.
That's called I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Because I do that a lot too.
Yeah.
Things come and they go real fast there.
So do you think, like, if looking at your past, like, you know, and whether it's in the military or anything like that, do you think that we kind of we forget the bad memories and we kind of just remember the good, or have you figured out about that?
What you try to do is just learn from all your memories,
Yeah.
good and bad. I mean, a lot of what I've learned is not just from being in the military. I'm also a lawyer too, and you see a lot of sadness and children that have been harmed, parents that have failed, parents that have let their children and their other siblings down or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sadness and hurt in this world, and all you try to do is listen to what the problem is and see what you can help to provide to them. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I've learned a lot, and at the same time know that I've got so much more to learn.
You bring up that about, like, people being hurt and everything. I think that is how, like, most people that I've talked to, when they turn away from the faith, when they lose all belief in dad, and I believe in dad, I believe in God. I don't know if I said dad or whatever, but the people that lose all faith in God and everything like that, and I have myself had moments of crisis of my own faith, like, just like, because of the weight and of stuff that coming down on you, and you just struggle, and you're just like, God, where are you? And you're just screaming out to him, and you're just like, what's happening? Because it's like you're almost not. It's like almost like he's not even there anymore. It's like he's almost out of the picture. You're only talking to the wall, and you don't feel his presence. And I think it's the reason I bring it up is just like the people that I've talked to that lose faith, that just walk away, and they just like, I can't believe that anymore. And they'll bring up, because of the worst things that happened to them, or the worst things that they've seen happen to other people, how could God let that happen, kind of thing. Have you ever experienced that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I understand that happens to people, and certainly at times in my life, I've been really sad in regards to what has happened, and many times it's because of what I have done or I have failed to do, and maybe a disappointment in myself, not being able to come up with the right answer, not be able to come up with a solution. And a lot of times what I've just learned to do is just try to ride it through, try to let things go and not make anything worse, but just continue to keep open and to constantly keep in prayer and to constantly ask God. And that's perhaps where I've become better at it. I've turned to God more just for answers, if nothing else, because I know God's wisdom is so great. I mean, what seems to be majestic words, if you really look at them, have a real meaning, and that you too often just gloss on over there. So
I did like want to bring up. So, like, I mean, when you just say like how beautiful our world is and everything like that, I think that people, from my vantage point, I know we always have to like give that preface for, in my opinion and what I think, because, and I've learned that just talking to people, I can say the same thing, but they hear something completely different. Everybody hears in a different way. But I'm just thinking, like, in general, about like this world and what we, how high tech we have gotten, how much we have evolved in that aspect of it. Like, just the industry, like, we didn't always have like computers. The internet like came into being almost in our like, I mean, it was in the 90s, wasn't it? Like, but like, I just immediately think of Bill Maher, and I remember his movie Religulous, and just talking about like, and like they are just almost making fun of this scene of like Jesus going to the cross and everything like that, and then it's almost they change the viewpoint and they point up at like at an airplane, almost to like, these stupid people, they still believe in this nonsense they haven't come to an understanding.
Well, I mean, some people, what they try to do is they come up, they have their own self-doubts, and you don't truly understand why a person is saying something, doing something, maybe expressing something, and sometimes what they say seems to make some sense, but all you can do is truly, keep on what you core believe in. And sometimes all you can do is just fall back to that and let things flow around you as they're going around you. I mean, I especially when you're young, a young person is trying to find answers because they just simply don't have any experiences from which to go from there. And that's where you get a lot of self-doubts. But then older people have been just shaped by what's happened around them. And so they do have a lot of doubts and they do have a lot of questions. And you certainly can't question or push away a person's feelings that they've experienced. All you can do is just, if you can give them a hand, just you try to do that. Otherwise, you just keep on, with what you're able to do there.
Yeah. So I mean, and with God as the creator, that's what we're talking about. That He, the Bible is just axiomatic, just like says it as it's just fact. It doesn't even like try to explain away like how. Well, it just starts it off. Well, in the beginning, God. It just starts it off with that. Like, it doesn't try to explain how He got there. It just it is just a matter of fact. Well, I'm really glad you were able to jump in and we'll talk about this. I know we got into a number of topics, a number of things we discussed, and we're going to go into more detail like in other. I'm sure we'll do this some other time, but I'm really thankful that you were able to join me, and hope you come back.
Well, I've enjoyed it, and thank you for asking me to come. It's being able to be with you and in a lot of ways I just say listen to you and even learn from you. As a father, it means a lot to me, and it just makes me feel how much more love and how much you have you can perhaps help other people and present what's out there to other people out there. So thank you for inviting me, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Dad.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Thanks everyone for hopping in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
So we hold on and enjoy the ride. After all the ups and downs, this is our time. Enjoy the ride. Can you see it? There's a distance.
Genesis or that. I'm probably going to introduce you as my father.
Okay.
This sounds just more, I don't know, more sophisticated. Do you have time?
7:30.
7:30. Okay, we're going to go.
Just a little flower out there.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. That's good, Mom. Thank you. All right, we're going. We're
Just
rolling.
make sure the dog doesn't get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Or, you know.
Dad, I'm kind of a perfectionist.
Okay.
Perfectionist. I don't want to start before I don't want to be moving around. I make sure it's rolling. My goodness. Make sure I didn't hit a button. All right, it's going. It's going. We are live.
All right.
Maybe I'll just keep this. Hold this. Yeah. Okay. Why do I get fidgety, Dad?
We all get fidgety.
Red leather, yellow leather. Okay. Here we go.